read in. Do. Let me get the cake out of my throat. No. Alright. 3, 2, 1. Welcome to the Starting Over podcast. I am your host, Edward Shelton, aka Dark Logos, and this is where we look at the strategies, tactics, and mechanics behind the game of HeroClix. We got some interesting things to talk about today. Interesting indeed. The big news, and sort of say big news, really is we have some stuff that's gone public, or better yet, free to purchase. We have the Dark Knight Returns, we have the Fast Forces GSX, and we have the War of Light Fast Forces. We're going to touch on each of those today, and we're also going to look at some upcoming rules changes. It's going to be a little bit more brief because this is the 4th time I've recorded this podcast due to technical difficulties. Wow, that seems to be going around lately. Okay, so let's really get into this, and we'll start with the Dark Knight Returns. I'm going to say some things, as normal, that are going to frustrate some people, and maybe even make them a little bit angry. Okay, the Dark Knight Dark Knight Rises. Oh, buddy. The Dark Knight Rises set, on average, really isn't that good of a set. Now, this is in comparison to everything that's out now. You know, in the future, there could be some, Mighty Morphin, Clicks and Rangers there that's going to make, a bunch of these figures, like, super powerful. As they stand now, most of these aren't that good. And I'm just going to point out the ones I think that are notable, instead of explaining why the rest aren't that good. The main reason I'm saying a lot of these aren't that good is point cost. They're either over point cost, or you're barely getting enough for how much you're paying for them, or their stats are just way too low even with special powers. So just sort of keep that in mind. If you don't hear me talk about a figure, is just really that everything about them requires the dice rolling in your favor more so than you having a tactical option of saying, hey, my team building helped me determine my outcome a little bit better. So first up is the Dark Knight. Why is the Dark Knight mentioned? Because he's an AE, and he's going to AE into from Bruce Wayne, and that's pretty much all he's good for. 129 points for 6 clicks, and everything that he has, not worth it. To be able to have super senses and toughness as, on your AE, that's nice. That's real nice. And outwit. So there's a benefit to that. So Dark Knight, good for AE only. Next up is 35-point Shadow Assassin. Why do I bring this up? League of Assassins, cheap, figure. It doesn't suck. Definitely Dial B. Dial B is pretty good. You can use enhancement in Smoke Cloud when you occupy. Yeah, so enhancement in Smoke Cloud. When you occupy hindering terrain, you modify his damage by 1. So that's awesome. You have enhancement and Smoke Cloud for 35 points. So consider it League of Assassins team ability, full dial stealth, side B of the cassette tape, for all those who are old enough to remember cassette tapes. Next up is Bruce Wayne. If I have to explain why Bruce Wayne is good, you haven't been listening to the podcast that long. Go buy Bruce Wayne as a single if you need to. He's really good. Really good. So, moving on along, you might notice that I'm going to be skipping over a lot of figures that you might say, oh, but wait, oh, hold up, what about, hey, no, wait, uh, oh, okay. Anyway, going on to Gotham City PD riot officer. Uh, his ability is freaking wondrous. When Gotham City PD riot officers within 8 squares of a higher point character that possesses the police team ability, he does not need to be adjacent to that character to use the police team ability. Okay, for you to say, hey, I can use the PD team ability for being away. I don't even have to be near you for me to use the PD ability. That is ridiculous. I think that it allows for a lot of abuse in formation and team building. So I really want you to consider that. Yeah, so imagine this. You have a couple of these, Gotham City PD riot officers on your team. And let's say you have 3. And you have somebody else that has the PD team ability that's pretty awesome. We're going to make them up and say Green Lantern for right now. Green Lantern has the PD team ability and the Green Lantern team ability. Some reason he has it. Just these guys are off, clubbing people on the side. And then Green Lantern's like, guess what? I get -3 to your defense. It's like, how's that? Your opponent will say, and it's like, riot officers. Boom! Hit you with range combat expert. So, it's going to be broken. Of all the things in this set, this is probably one of the more brokener things. So just sort of keep that in the back burner. Some people will not think about it until it's too late, and then when it shows up in a big tournament, these suckers will be worth a lot of money. Next up is Alfred Pennyworth. Alfred Pennyworth is good because you have a 10 attack medic. A 10 attack medic would defend. Now, a 10 attack medic with a 17 defend, one can argue is just as good as a 9 attack medic with 16 defend. Which to an extent, it's really the same spread. But here's the kicker. If you could take that 10 attack and you're healing a 15 or a 16, that's a lot better. And on top of that, you get perplex. So it's so funny. And then also Alfred has this cool trait. It says, Alfred, I need you. When Alfred is given a move action and it resolves, if a friendly character possesses a team ability or keyword possessed by Alfred within 2 squares in line of fire, you may place Alfred Pennyworth adjacent to that character. Now, keep this trait in your head, and you will see why this is the most brokenest trait in combination with this set. And we're going to get to that in a little bit. And I'm going to bring up Mr. Alfred Pennyworth later. So sort of keep him in the back of your head of, yeah, we're going to talk about him again. Next up is Harvey Dent. Now, I've talked about Harvey Dent multiple times on the show. Harvey Dent's broke by 2 because he's not unique, A, and B, if you sort of stutter step him, you could pretty much make it so your person has, perpetual willpower. Also, having probability control and the Batman LITA on top of that, it's just beyond silly. Way, way beyond silly. And you also can consider this. Stormbreaker has a new friend. Now, for those who get the hint, it's a reference to another piece of work that I've done. But Stormbreaker has a new friend. So, anyway, for those who figure it out, PM me or email me at the startingoverpodcast@gmail.com. Startingoverpodcast@gmail.com. And you will get a shout out the next show I do once I get the email. So, okay. Pretty much moving on past Mr. Harvey Dent, we're going to go look at Lieutenant Gordon. Now, remember I said, Alfred's broke. Lieutenant Gordon is the reason why Alfred's broke. Okay, so here we go. Lieutenant Gordon's special power is get these men into position. Give Lieutenant Gordon a power action. You can immediately give him and up to 2 adjacent friendly characters who possess a team ability or keyword possessed by Lieutenant Gordon a move action as a free action, replacing all character speed values with Lieutenant Gordon's unmodified speed value. Okay, he's next to Alfred Pennyworth. Get these men into position. Boom, Alfred moves as a free action. Then, oh my gosh, Alfred, I need you, shouts Bruce Wayne. And bam, Alfred is right next to Batman. Or Alfred's next to Legacy Batman, because that's who I would team him up with. Vet Legacy Batman, people, and yes, I have one. Ha ha. That's what you would be doing. Alfred Pennyworth is within 2 squares in line of fire. You may place Alfred Pennyworth adjacent to that character. Now, no, you've moved Alfred for free due to Lieutenant Gordon. Okay? Then, on top of that, he gets to move 2, so he can move up to 10. And then, since it's all a free action, I'm going to go heal Alfred. Heal with Alfred. Like literally, if played properly, you can get Alfred out 10 squares and do the first charge, equivalent charge support combination in the game. Or actually, you're probably better off as like hypersonic speed support in the game. Will this be abused? Yes, big games. Oh my gosh. You know how many big games you can abuse this? Just making sure that, hey, Batman or somebody with a Batman ally TA or a keyword with Alfred is, near your Galactus or Master Mold or, Big Hitter. Just think about that. Like the combination of those 2 things are what we used to call back in my day hella broke. Hella broke. Just remember, Lieutenant Gordon, he does a whole lot of silliness, and I have a little follow-up, a little piece of content after the show, just to go into Lieutenant Gordon a little bit more, because I do think that he's a noteworthy piece for you to consider. Next up is Lucius Fox. Oh my gosh, Lucius Fox is ridiculous. He has his special power, which Lucius Fox can use leadership. 35-point figure is sort of pointless and perplex. When he uses leadership, he may remove tokens from characters with a higher point value if they possess the Batman ally team ability. Unfortunately, it's not copy, and unfortunately, you can't do some other silliness with it. But the nice thing about it is that you can use your leadership and get your tokens off your Batman, or get your tokens off of your Alfred. Oh gosh, take your tokens off of several different pieces. Lucius doesn't have good stats at all. He has crap stats. That's why he's so cheap. His movement sucks. He's going to be carried the entire time if he can be carried. Okay, so in the vein of we're paying more for support, but at the other end, we're getting so much for what we're paying for. This is like this is really, really strong if played properly, with those other figures that have, the Batman Ally TA. So, buy him. The stock on him is high. Lucius Fox I think he costs like $10 on eBay right now. Now, note, everything just came out, stocks fall. But, he's $10 on eBay. So, hopefully you can pull one or arrange a trade. Now, this is going to conclude our analysis on The Dark Knight Rises. And you might say, but wait, there's a gravity feed. But wait, there's these other things. Pretty much the gravity feed sucks, in my opinion. And I'm going to say, I'm going to try to say it as respectfully as possible. When they designed the gravity feed, they didn't really, I hate to say it, care. They didn't really try to make it as competitive as the main set, and there's a lot of things in there that I just don't think it's good, and just stat wise for how much you're paying or the amount of clicks that you have. Now, if you put it in context of the Dark Knight Rises set and they're fighting each other, it's the most balanced set that you've gotten from WizKids in a long, long time. I would almost say, like, within itself, people, not as in terms of the meta, that you would have to go like all the way back, maybe Avengers. Yeah, like Avengers, Justice League set. And if you went farther back than that, I would argue Sinister. Now, again, I'm saying balance within the set. Okay, so if you pulled anything out of this set and played it, you actually had a chance. Like, the Batmans aren't overwhelming. The support is good, but it's not going to compensate for the lack of damage if you played it within the set. The main reason I say this is the 100 and 101 Batmans get honorable mention. They're not bad, but Bane, I don't think the 103 Bane and sorry, I actually skipped some stuff. Those are prize support. The 100 point to 106 is prize support. So I apologize for that. When we look at, number 201, got to get my numerical values correct. It's okay as an AE. It's okay as a piece. On his own trait, just messes him up too much. If you look at Bane, the whole "I'll bring the city down," it can be useful, but his attack values are just so low, and you're like, well, he'll be using objects and all these other things. Or no, it's no good. It's no good. The Joker henchmen might seem amusing, but I don't think that they're that good. Number 3 and 4, Arkham Asylum escapee. Oh no, absolutely. Like, I hate to say it, junk. The Joker, while he did make me chuckle, I don't think he's that good. When we go and we actually look at the prize support figures, I don't think that they're the things that's going to really make you say, oh, I must win them, unless you're a Batman fan. So sort of taking a step back, trying to be real civil about it. Is this the best set? No. Is it giving you a lot of attacking powerhouses? No. What it is doing is it is setting you up for some of the best support that we've seen in a long time. In all honesty, I haven't seen support this good since Chief, and that's been since Crisis, I think. So take it for what it's worth. with that. Definitely Lieutenant Gordon and Lucius Fox. And in the wrong hands, they're evil. So, moving right along, this following part on the Fast Forces, oh gosh, this love, hate, love going on here. We're going to look at the GSX Fast Forces, and it's a set I was excited for, and now I wish they didn't make it. Well, first off, let's sort of break down why, and you'll see with the dials. Professor X, great, just base figure. He has normal probability control, and you'll see why that's a problem here in the future. I mean, why that's a good thing here in the future. But his telepathic confusion power that gives your friendly characters that, you know, share a keyword with Professor X shape change. But if a character succeeds on a roll, for this shape change, give that character an action token if they have 0 action tokens. So you can use it if you have 1 action token, but if you're not dealing with a whole bunch of Indomitable on your team, it's just frustrating. Because there's nothing stopping your opponent from saying, well, I'll just target him again next turn, and if I miss, he's tokened. You know, or sorry, if he gets shape change, he's tokened. So that's where I find it frustrating. But at least he has, you know, probability control, mind control, decent attack value, not a long dial. He's not meant to really do a lot. He really is just meant to sit in the back for 75 points and prob and maybe throw out a shot here and there. So I wish they gave him, he could use Psychic Blast, but oh well, damage value is too low. Next up is Cyclops, 75 points. If you actually hustle him out well, you get a whole lot for the 75 points. If you get some enhancement behind him or even some shield TA, he could do some pretty good stuff. But he has the beginning of the power that I now hate, which is trained together since the beginning. Cyclops can use probability control. If no other friendly character has used probability control this turn, he can only use it during the attacks of other friendly characters with the X-Men keyword. Okay, so let's see our limitation. You can't use it if someone else has used prob, so that means Professor X or your theme team prob. Okay. The other limitation is you have to have the X-Men keyword. Okay. And it only works on friendlies. I'm literally better off paying 15 points for the gauntlet and getting the reality gem. Less stipulations. And I really hope that this is like a very, very discounted version of prob. Because if not, I can't even speak properly of how much I hate it. Going on to Beast. Same problem, trained since the beginning. You can't play these together because you're paying for the same power over and over again. But guess what? If you have multiples of this same power, they can't interact. Did someone not think about this of, we playing a team out of the box? This is frustrating. Now, another advantage with this beast is, an advantage, not another advantage, with this beast is you can push him to support on click 2. Click 3, he has Perplex, and click 4, he has Outwit. Okay, and he has support with a 10 attack on click 2. So that's not bad. So there is a nice advantage there. X-Men, X-Factor, Avengers, Defenders, and Scientist keyword are good as well. I really think this beast has potential on a Defenders team if you play him with Iceman. But please take this big but. You're better off playing this, playing this beast and pushing to click 2 and have him as your 75-point support figure to heal your Namor, to heal your Silver Surfer, to heal up your Iceman or your Doctor Strange, than it is for him to stay on his first click. There's no reason. So moving right along, Wolverine. This Wolverine is not impressive, and he has the same problems that the Web of Spider-Man Wolverine had, which is like, no movement attack. He does have the X-Force, team ability, so it allows him to move through hindering terrain without being, hindered. But I think this is just a bad dial design. Stealth blades, and stealth blades, then flurry blades. Some regions, smattered about. While I would see this as a decent Wolverine to introduce figures to the game, people to the game of HeroClix, it's a good beginning figure. I don't think this is a competitive figure. Rogue, they had a second chance of doing her right, allowing her to get range with her special power, but they failed so hard. Rogue can use Outwit, or Absorb Psyche. Rogue can use Outwit. She can only use it to target an adjacent character, but does not require a line of fire. If she uses Outwit in this way to counter a standard power other than Outwit, she can use that other power until she uses this Outwit again. Okay, it's sort of weird. She can use Outwit, but only target adjacent figures. She doesn't need line of fire, so why did you say she gets Outwit? Okay, and you can say, oh, but they lose their power. You could have just said the power you pick, the other figure doesn't have that power anymore. That's you would think that would be a lot easier way of putting it. Her stats are, I don't want to say abysmal, because you're paying a lot for that super strength to compensate for her lack of damage. If you want to fit a Rogue in, and you just need to fit a Rogue in, go back to Fantastic Forces and pick up a Rogue from there. One of the Extreme X-Men outfit Rogues. Don't pick up this Rogue. If you just want to fill in to beat thematic, I think you're doing yourself a disservice. If you need her for Brotherhood of Mutants, though, you might want to consider this Rogue. Because this one's pretty decent for Brotherhood of Mutants. So, Catch-22, depending on what you're playing. X-Men, she's bad. Brotherhood of Mutants, she's pretty decent, because yeah, you do have some bruisers inside of there, but you don't really have a lot of cheap bruisers that could take somewhat of a hit. Last up is Iceman. More disappointment. 6 range, really, people? 6 range. Chill Vortex. Iceman can use Outwit, but only counter hypersonic speed, running shot, and flight ability. While that is nice, that is way too limited. Way too limited. Oh, I stop your hypersonic speed and running shot, but I'm probably going to be shot by you anyway. Oh gosh. The train together since the beginning. I don't need to explain that to you. At least he only has 1 click of it, which is a blessing. So, overall, you can play him on the Defenders team. You can play him on the Champions team, which, X Factor and X-Men. So, overall, I give this set a D. It is not that good. You can ignore it. You can just move on. It's sort of like the Watchmen Fast Forces. Unless you're a hardcore fan, and I grew up watching X-Men. It was my favorite cartoon. It was the thing that made me a Marvel head for a long time. It's It's just not worth it. It's not worth your buy. Oh gosh, and I'm full of rage. So much rage! But it's appropriate because I'm looking at Fast Forces War of Light set, and we're starting with our Atrocious. Atrocitus. Sorry, Atrocitus. I've been watching that Green Lantern cartoon, the 3D CGI one. That one's pretty cool. Atrocitus pisses me off. It makes me angry. Not quite nerd rage, but he makes me very angry. Why is that? I just spent $14 on 2 Frost Giant Champions, people, not including shipping. Okay? Okay, you know I was, oh gosh, I was telling people how good Frost Giant Champion is. Then lo and behold, after I buy them on eBay, the next day they preview this character. Literally the next day. I could have saved myself $14. You know, yeah, my Asgard teams and my monster teams are, you know, loving it. But, gosh, really? Now, I haven't fully explained. Why am I angry? You might say, Dark Logos, why are you so angry? Calm down. Well, it's Atrocitus' trait, which is never-ending rage. Atrocitus and characters within 5 squares possess battle fury. Now note, I do know that this affects your friendly characters. Okay? That is a trade-off. But to have this PBAOE effect of I give everybody around me battle fury completely nerfs the effectiveness of a Frost Giant Champion who A, can't have any action tokens on them when they use the power, and B, they have to draw a line of fire. This just like within 5 squares. I'm on the other side of the wall. You have battle fury. Okay? It doesn't even require a line of fire. And Atrocitus gets the trait on his 175-point version and his 125-point version. Okay? He also has a special power which gives him charge and flurry on his first and last click. Now, taking a step back, looking at the old Atrocitus versus this Atrocitus, you're better off with the old Atrocitus. This figure's good. Really good. It's worth playing. A little bit more techy than what I would think would be appropriate for Fast Forces, but a solid piece. But when you're looking at the old Atrocitus versus this Atrocitus, what is missing? The ability really to make sure that your damage lands and sticks. Okay? The old Atrocitus said, you have impervious. Nope, homie, you have invulnerability. You have invulnerability. Nope, you have toughness. And it made it so that when he picks up an object and hits you, he hits you hard, real hard, and you're always going to take damage. Also, for some reason, Atrocitus is a scientist in this version, which gives him a slight advantage over the new one, because there's tons of perplex and other silliness that he can have. But overall, the lack of super strength, the lack of the ability to really get past damage reduction, mainly impervious, it makes the investment almost not worth it. Now, taking another step back, him having the monster keyword with some Mole-Man, Mole-Man, there you go. That's the problem the other Atrocitus couldn't have, because the other Atrocitus couldn't be mind controlled by Mole-Man. This one can, and oh buddy, in the right situations, this can turn into all sorts of silly. So, you know, does he quite beat, you know, Fast Forces Bizarro on the monster team? No, but he is a good addition. So, anyway, Atrocitus, okay, could be better, but still okay. Next up is Larfeeze. Larfeeze has always been one of those characters. He's on the level of Mxyzptlk, but yeah, he's like Mxyzptlk. When he shows up, you know silly stuff is going to happen, but you know when he gets pissed off, bad stuff is going to happen. This Larfeeze is different than the other Larfeeze because the other Larfeeze is, you know what he's doing from the beginning to end. You just give him the gauntlet so that he can do it better. Okay? This Larfeeze, you don't really know what he's doing until you hit him. So he starts off with Charge and his special power along with Larfeeze. Larfeeze can use poison. Yeah, sort of figured. If he's adjacent to exactly one character, the damage dealt by this poison is penetrating. How long have we wanted that, people? Think about that. How long have we really wanted some ability just to give penetrating poison that didn't cost an arm and a leg? Okay? The other thing that people need to look out for in the future is some way to give Larfeeze Mastermind. That's not the gauntlet, because that's going to take too long. Okay? They're going to give Larfeeze Mastermind so he can carry around fodder. Once you figure that out, you have the new lamp. If that becomes possible to give whatever the highest point figure on your team Mastermind, this Larfeeze will be high level meta. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. So, just for that first 3 clicks power. The second power that he gets is, you can't leave with something that's mine. He gets on his last 4 clicks. And his Larfeeze can use plasticity. That's okay. Give Larfeeze a power action, and choose an opposing character not within 8 squares. So they have to be beyond 8 squares. Place Larfeeze to that character and make a close combat action. Combat attack. Okay. What's really cool about this is that if your opposing team has a lot of support figures and they decide that they're just going to like, oh, my big bruisers and my attackers and my other support figures are all safe because I have, 3 barrier pieces, and I'm advancing and he can't shoot me back and I'm awesome. Larfeeze is like, well, you messed up and nuked me. You knocked me past my super, cool poison. Now I'm going to mess with you. And he's just like, bam, back lines. Now I'm going to start killing your support. Oh, you're coming towards me, and you're outside of 8. Oh, I bamf up towards you now, and I hit you. There's a lot to exploit with this power at the end, and it gives him a lot of mobility to do things that he shouldn't be able to do. The previous Larfeeze, his main goal was to hide in a corner somewhere and let his constructs do the work. This Larfeeze, he goes out there and he does the work himself. So, 2 different types of personalities and sides of the character. Next up is Sinestro. And for a lot of people during DC 75th, they were really focused on White Lantern Sinestro. If you got a Sinestro Corps Sinestro, he started rough. He started with toughness, which really, in my opinion, put him at a disadvantage because you're forcing to push your own guy at the beginning of the game. And if you get hit, you have a choice of saying, hey, I have a choice of making my character impervious on click 2 with lower values, or have higher values and have toughness. And so it was a tough gambit to run, and a lot of people just went ahead and chose to say, forget it, I will push. And I was one of those people. But this new Sinestro, he takes some of that angst away. some of that insecurity that you feel on those first few clicks, and he comes through it like a champ. And in my opinion, it's a really good start for what he does. So let's go look into him. Yeah. So the first thing that you'll notice is he starts off with a 10 attack on his 200-point version. And his lower point version, he starts off with a 10 attack as well. But he has Psychic Blast, and he starts off with this special power, which is out of my way. Sinestro can use Charge and Running Shot. When he uses Charge, after the action resolves, he can use Quake as a free action. So you can charge somebody, hit them for 4. So I mean, the big advantage that you have with dealing with the Sinestro is that you charged, you hit somebody for 4 damage starting off, and then after you hit them for 4 damage, like, oh, you have toughness, Quake you, or you get in the middle of a bunch of various figures, and you're like, oh, look, I hit who I need to hit. Now I'll Quake all of you. So that's something that you need to keep in the back of your mind while looking at this figure. He also has Sharpshooter and Indomitable, which is really awesome. 11 attack on click 2. And just straight Running Shot on click 3. He has 6 clicks of move and attack, which is spectacular when you're looking at a 200-point piece. His damage values do drop off. 3 clicks of 4, then down to 3, 2, 1. But on clicks 5 and 6, where he has the 2 and 1, he has Perplex. But it's really not that. You don't really look at it like that. You really look at it more of, I'm boosting up my damage, or I'm boosting up my attack. Next, he has the second special power on his last end of his dial, which is he will call you gutless. Sinestro can use Psychic Blast. Yay! When he uses it to target only the highest point opposing character. If he hits, give that character an action token after the action's resolve. So when Sinestro pretty much goes after the biggest figure on the board, he says, yo, I hit you, and not only do I hit you, I will give you an action token, which can give him a lot of control, definitely at the end. And considering that technically he has full dial range penetrating damage, that in and of itself is a pretty good state to be in. So definitely, think about the Sinestro at 200 points. At his lower point version, as 125, play at your own risk. Not bad, but you can get a better investment for 125 points in the game. Going on to Saint Walker. Saint Walker is different from his previous counterpart in the sense of he is a little bit more of a combatant on his first click, and his second clicking on, he becomes like a support figure. He does have the special power Helping Hands on his damage. Friendly adjacent figures may use the Sharpshooter ability and modify their range value by +1. You might think like, oh, it's not that good. But if you have a figure, let's say you have Ultron. Have you ever wished Ultron had Sharpshooter? You have a figure like old school Fantastic Forces. Well, how I love that set. Professor X with Mind Control. How would you love to have Sharpshooter with his 12 range and Mind Control? Okay, you sort of see where I'm going. You are giving a figure, and giving him a 13 range. You're technically giving your comrades in arms, your figures that are next to him, +1 range and Sharpshooter. how you're getting some of the better parts of shield plus sharpshooter. So I think that that's really nice. It's a free, action to an extent that you don't have to, give a power action. This person has it. It's anybody that's adjacent to them. So that is a awesome thing to think about when you start applying it. The defend and TK is on click 2, which is pretty much where you want to keep them. Late dial, perplex, and barrier and running shot. That's okay. But that first click, I really wish the first click and the second click were swapped and that his price was a little lower, like 65 points, or if he was 75 points, having TK on the front end, defend on the front end, the same special power on the front end, and perplex on click 2. Or getting rid of the toughness altogether just for defend. Now I know they're like, well, it wouldn't be that much different than the other Saint Walker. I understand that, but character-wise, reading the comics, he's not that big of a warrior dude. I mean, unless you look at the cartoon. The cartoon's a little different, but when it comes down to the comic, he's not really sort of unloading the light on people, if you catch my drift. Okay, going on. Indigo 1. A lot different than her previous incarnation. This version is, in my opinion, a lot more aggressive. The other one was defensive and really couldn't support its defensive nature. This one is a little bit more in your face. 7 range, dual target, cool trait. Most important fight, give Indigo a power action and choose a friendly character possessing a keyword with Lantern in the name, or Indigo Tribe, or Sinestro Corps. Place the chosen character in an unoccupied square adjacent to Indigo 1. The chosen character can't be given an action this turn after being placed. For people who've been playing the game for a while, what power is this on a bigger scale and better? And whose job did Indigo 1 just take? Ding, 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 ding. Time's up. Dead Man. This is the same thing as summoning the white, except you can summon any lantern. Any lantern. Okay. That is ridiculous. So ridiculous. It's like, oh, my Green Lantern's about to die. Most important fight. Oh, look, these other things are coming, and Indigo 1 is safe. Most important fight. Oh, they're trying to kill Indigo 1, and they don't have any damage reducers. Summon Larfeeze. Most important fight. You sort of see how this is going. Definitely if you can figure out how to make Larfeeze have Mastermind, and then you're able to put in a cheap medic and Indigo 1. Well, actually, no, that wouldn't work. Not in a 300-point game. So, but you sort of catch where I'm going. Okay. Next up, she has Mercy Shield, Indigo 1, and an adjacent friendly character can use Energy Shield Deflection. Okay, how many lanterns don't have Energy Shield Deflection? There's not a lot, but those that don't have damage reduction. So you're giving your figure that has an 18 defense, like Sinestro from DC 75th, and you're adding on top of that 18 defense Energy Shield Deflection. Okay, and so most important fight, and you place them, so that they're not adjacent to the opposing figure, and guess what? Now I got Energy Shield Deflection. She is doing what Doctor Strange did on a little bit more expensive scale, but her utility is way higher than Doctor Strange. Way, way higher, because she can come out the gate and just start tokening people with Running Shot, Incapacitate. I think that's where she's going to shine. no pun intended. She's going to shine by like running shot, incapacitate, and when things get real, make sure her tokens are cleared off, and then boom, or even push her and just bam, drop a lantern right on top of your opponent. So that's something for you all to consider. Next up out of this set is Star Sapphire. Star Sapphire, wow. Play her at 75 points. If you play Violet Lantern Corps at lower points, if you're playing Violet Lantern Corps as a theme, play her at lower points just to fill in, because a lot of those Violet Lanterns are expensive. But at 75 points, you get a Morris Truce. At the beginning of the game, choose another friendly character and an opposing character, each 150 points or less. The chosen characters can't target each other with an attack or deal damage to each other until Star Sapphire is KO'd. You know what this means? When you play Galactus and his Heralds, or Herald, this needs to be like your number one. Galactus needs to KO this figure, because I would just like say, hey, I'm playing Star Sapphire. I pick your Herald. Your Herald cannot target this other figure, which is, you know, my main attacker, which is one of my main attackers under 150 points. Yay. You know, you can't deal damage to me. Oh, you're going to pulse wave me? Oh, no, you can't, because you would deal damage to my figure, so that would be an illegal action. So you can't do that. Oh, you're going to do this energy explosion? Well, that would hit me, so you can't do that. It would be illegal action. So you really, really, really need to invest in her for some high point games. And then, like, also think about it like this. 7 range, 2 targets, 2 damage, meh. 75 points, range combat expert, 2 damage. That's a lot better. In-dial support is awesome. Probably you'll never see it. You're most likely going to get killed. In-dial mind control, you will never use it because you will die. 9 times out of 10. So, alright, with that being said, if I was to rank the figures of importance, Sinestro would be number 1. Indigo 1 would be number 2 because she's just so broken. Saint Walker would be number 3. Atrocious. Well, actually, Star Sapphire would be number 3. Saint Walker number 4. Atrocious number whatever. And at the bottom of the list is Larfleeze. Okay, real briefly, because we're going a little long. A little longer than I expected. When I previously recorded this, I was through all the little previews and well, actually through all the sets and stuff in 30 minutes, and I guess I got long at the tooth. There's some upcoming changes to the rules. The split and merge ability is ridiculous, and you can go around the web. You can go to HC Realms and look at the rules changes that are coming up, and I'm just going to bring up some of the problems that I have with what's being said, more so than what's actually sort of, well, some things that were brought up. So just bear with me while we go through this, because I'm going to try to be as concise as possible. And hopefully everything is subject to change. The first problem that's being brought up is the merge ability. Pretty much every duo, every figure that's not a duo can merge and form a duo if they're eventually going to be listed. And they're going to retcon all the old duos so that you can add them into the magical duo combination power of you know, form of water and a hawk, you know. So okay, that's a bad pun, but anyway, they're going to allow you to set up so that you can take your old duos and split them, but they're going to tell you what figures they can split into. Where I have a problem with is merge ability in combination with split. Okay, so if you have any type of attack symbol other than duo ability, you have the ability to merge, as long as you merge into a valid duo figure. Okay, when you merge, it works like this. You have to, the two figures have to be adjacent. Boop. I think they both can't have any tokens. The one that initiates the merge, you start on their health. So if they're on click 2, then you start on click 2. If they're on click 1, they start on click 1. If they're on click 9 of 10, you start on click 9 of 10 of the duo. Why is this not wise? Oh, let's elaborate why this is not wise. Okay. Imagine that there's this new awesome broke figure called Green Lantern Sinestro. Okay, and you have a Green Lantern and you have Sinestro that are both valid to merge into Green Lantern Sinestro. Okay, Green Lantern has been beat up really bad, so bad. He's on his next to last click. Sinestro is fresh. He's in there kicking and he's fighting. Okay. Then you have Indigo 1 from the Fast Forces sitting in your starting area next to Green Lantern. And you say to yourself, man, Green Lantern is beat up and he's going to die. I need to do something to stop my opponent from getting victory points. What do I do? Then you say, let me sort of grind out Sinestro for a little bit. So you grind out Sinestro. Sinestro's, down to click 5. Okay? Then Indigo 1 says, most important fight, boop, come to me. And you place Sinestro right next to Green Lantern. And then they shake hands. And they say, Green Lantern says, by our powers combined, we are, Green Lantern and Sinestro duo. Boof! We're on click 9. And on click 9, we have, a 12 attack, 20 defense, 5 damage, duo attack, and running shot. Okay? See how broke that would be? You can automatically just we turn into the best part of the dial of the duo. AEs can't do that. AEs start at a certain point, and you may or may not transform. But and even with morph, the morph ability, you can say, oh, I'm on click this click, I'm going to transform. But it's one figure. Okay, the other part of the merge and split ability that becomes silly is once you split, whatever dial you were on your split ability is the dial that both figures are on. New scenario. Batman Catwoman duo. Oof. Okay? So you have two figures. You start off with Batman, you start off with Catwoman. You're playing. Let's say Catwoman's 10 clicks deep. Mythical Catwoman, Super Battle Armor Catwoman. Okay? She gets hit down to click 9. She runs back to Batman. They clear their tokens. Batman says, our powers combined, we are Batman Catwoman. Boom. Okay. They fight a little bit, and then they go back to the medic and heal. And they get on Batman Catwoman click 1. It's approaching the end of the clock of the round, and you're like, oh, I need 2 figures, not 1. Split. They both have action tokens. Catwoman's on click 1 because you healed Batman Catwoman, the duo. Remember, because you merged with Batman. Batman was, he's up at the beginning. You've healed 9 clicks of damage, or 8 clicks of damage, for free. This is not well thought out. They should require that whatever dial that you were on when you were, before you merged, you stay on that dial. Or if you split, I know when you split, you're supposed to be on taking some damage and whatnot. Uh, it just doesn't seem like it's clean enough. If you catch my drift, it's not to a point where abuse is not there. And I know for the next year and a half, maybe even 2 years, it's going to undergo the same problems that Transporter went through, and they're going to nerf it just like they did Transporter. They're going to nerf it just like they did Giant Size, and Giants for so long it made them unplayable. So the next problem that's coming up is Pulse Wave. Pulse Wave ignores terrain. I think WizKid, they said it's, the logic is that it's to simplify the game. In my opinion, it makes the game worse because you've made literally the most required power in the game even stronger than it needed to be. And not only that, you pretty much have nerfed non-flying characters. Non-flying characters and characters that don't ignore terrain. Because why do you put a grounded figure that cannot ignore terrain on hindering terrain? Oh, it's so that they can get a hindering bonus, hindering terrain bonus against ranged attacks. Well, if your opponent can either shoot you from far off or running shot and single target pulse wave you, and either of the two decisions, they're capable of doing. Guess what they're going to do? They're going to running shot pulse wave you because your hindering terrain value is not there. So I find that very disturbing, and it makes it so that you now have to focus a lot more defensively than you would have in the past, and that's sad. And they didn't need to make it so that pulse waivers had that much of a power advantage than other powers. But who am I to say? I am not game design, of course, So the next element, which I feel is a bit messed up, is the Prime, just the Prime debacle. Why do I call it the Prime debacle? Well, it's what it implies more so than what it actually says. Pretty much there's a new thing coming out called Prime characters. They will have green rings around them, and you will only be able to have one green ring figure per force. Okay, so if there's a green ring Captain America and there's a green ring Superman, they cannot be on the same team. Okay, unless you're doing home games. But officially, they cannot be on the same team. Now, what does this mean, people? What does this really mean? This means that there is something in the works, either that they feel is more scary or more powerful than Nightcrawler, more powerful than Brainiac and Worldbreaker Hulk, because those suckers didn't have green rings, that's coming down the pipe, that they had to make sure that you only could have one of them. That having them be unique wasn't going to be good enough. You only could have one of them, so that any other future things that they come out with this green ring, the two worlds shall not meet together. Okay? Now also think about this. We just recently saw the Superman duo. Okay? I didn't see a green ring on him. I could be wrong. That could come back and people could say, oh, they forgot to put the green ring on him. Or they errated him to have a green ring. But from what I see, it looks like, a yellowish ring. Doesn't look like a green ring to me. Okay, and you're saying there's something more powerful than him. That's that's sort of scary. That's really sort of scary. What this also means is that WizKids is taking a step back and saying, "Ooh, we want to control the meta. We really want to control the meta because everything that we've done from previous points has not reined in elements that we thought should be reined in, or the amount of diversity that we thought we would see is not happening." And the main reason I say this is that WizKids was under the illusion that removing feats and adding in special powers was going to fix everything. But it didn't fix everything. It didn't provide diversity. It limited the game down because certain elements were placed in the meta and only one figure could solve that problem. Now, a lot of folks will say, like, protected is a problem. In contact with Oracle. Sorry. Once Brilliant Tactician came to the game, in contact with Oracle was obsolete. But I digress. In contact with Oracle is a problem. These other feats are a problem. And I will agree. Yeah, at those stages of the game, those were big problems. Definitely way back before Brilliant Tactician got abusive with Super Perplex. Being able to have in contact with the Oracle on figures and when the Perplex rules were different, which allowed you couldn't Perplex and have it go to your next turn, so Perplexing defense was stupid. Having in contact with the Oracle on your defense was like one of the biggest things that you could do in a HeroClix game. But to sort of look at some of the old Wizard Worlds, what was the problem? The problem was lack of map diversity, which forced and pigeonholed what was actually effective out of what was playable. Okay? So when we got past the fact that, oh, we can now play on multiple maps. Once we got to that point of playing on multiple maps, it didn't dawn on us, okay, this might be feasible in the meta. Feats might be feasible. If we did this and that, they might be feasible. The other problem is they would not do the simplest thing that a couple of us as judges requested, and this is the first time that I was on the opposite end of the power gamers. I felt that special powers should never interact with feats. Feats prerequisite should always be a standard power printed on the dial and interacts only with the standard power printed on the dial. Once they broke that, then yeah, feats became something obscene. They became crazy because you have a figure like Novar who has Psychic Blast and Pulse Wave and Running Shot and Hypersonic Speed and Super Strength and on and on and on. And you have he now qualifies for Nova Blast. No, he shouldn't qualify for Nova Blast. So, going back, we have prime characters coming. It either means one or two things. Something scary is coming down the pipe, or what we thought was normal and okay, WizKids is saying no. No more of that. None of this. Hydra Technicians, you only get one per force. And they shall never meet Ultimate Super Duper Man. Okay? So that's how I see it. Last thing to really talk about is Ultra Heavy Objects. Something that should never exist. It gives +3 damage. They can't be thrown. Characters under 100 points can't lift it. I don't mind the characters under 100 points can't lift it. That's actually a good thing. Where I have a problem is that they do +3 damage. That was not needed in this game. Definitely with so much stat modification going around right now, to say that I don't have to that I don't have to, as a player, think about perplexing up my damage, that I can spend my perplex purely on attack or on defense, and that I can just have this super duper object, ultra heavy object, and run around and smack dudes with it, and it's part of my standard pool, and I can play the gauntlet. That's not bad. Now note, please note, I'm not saying the gauntlet is bad. I'm not saying ultra heavy objects altogether are bad, but I do think that the gauntlet allowing you to play standard objects is a bad idea. It should not allow you to play standard objects. The moment that you play the gauntlet, you should get no objects. Okay? For your ultra heavies to be a standard object, not like a relic, you know, is bad. You know, for them, for them to say like, oh, you have to deal 4 damage to them to be destroyed instead of 3, that's also bad, because they are something that needs to be removed from the game as soon as possible, and for you to devote that much damage to them is a bit excessive. I think I understand why they introduced these. It's because they wanted to show grades of strength. They wanted to show, hey, if you are this many points, you can only lift this much. If you're at this many points, you can lift these 2 objects. But you have to be over this point to lift these objects. To make Hulk different. To make Superman different than, you know, the standard 50-point guy, you know, with super strength. So, anyway, thanks for sticking in with me. And listening and watching and probably, you know, thinking about the meta and sort of visualizing where you want to go in the upcoming meta. It's a brave new, scary world that we are going into with HeroClix. And if what I see is coming down the pipe comes to fruition, you know, Superman set is going to look like a joke compared to what's coming out in the DC and Marvel 10th anniversaries. So hold your money, hide your kids, hide your wife, mainly hide your kids for a little bit, and walk with me as we go through this future, fun, crazy world of HeroClix. And hopefully we'll be on top. So for the Starting Over podcast, I am your host, Edward Shelton, aka Dark Logos. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or you want a custom-made podcast suited for you, and you want me to rant or talk on something, hit me up at startingoverpodcast@gmail.com, and I guess we'll catch you next time. And we know, hey, we all got to start over sometime.